There you go, got it.
Hello, everybody. It's Space Mike here, and welcome to our broadcast of the 10th flight of Starship. SpaceX has already begun their stream, so I'm going to go ahead and cut right to that. Things are moving right along. They have begun propellant load a few minutes ago and are currently fueling the Starship, the upper portion of this vehicle today. And in a little while from now, we will see them begin to start fueling the booster, and we'll start to see those iconic views of crystal ice forming on the outside of the vehicle. We are about 41 minutes away from flight right now, if everything goes according to plan. And right now, they are already starting to talk about some of the things that are going on today, their goals for this particular flight. So I'm excited, and hopefully things will go off this time. We had a scrub yesterday. At the last minute, there was an issue with the ground equipment. One of the valves, one of the propellant tubes for the liquid oxygen had a problem and had some sort of leak that they were able to very quickly repair over through the night and get this thing into another flight ready configuration. And after doing their go no go poll, determined that they were clear. And as I said, have begun propellant loading. So we are very excited and very hopeful that this is actually going to launch today and that things will go according to plan. So, how is everybody doing? Where's everybody watching from? Good to see everybody here. Drew D, good to see you here. Darko FC, good to have you here as well. Hi, Dan, good to see you here. Oh, man. It is a how about this? Elon is actually here and on the broadcast. Let me turn on the volume and let's tune into what they're saying here.
Let's start people off like high level. Like,
How's the
why are we
volume
here?
on
What
that?
the
Is
hell are
that
we
okay,
doing here?
folks?
Well, I don't know about everybody, but I'm here to try to build into the future that I imagined and dreamed of as a child, where starships with people
Wow.
are out among the stars exploring the universe.
Yeah, so the why, it's always important to explain the why of things. And
Here, you know
the
what?
why
Let's
of
go full
Starship
screen to this for just a
is
moment.
that we want to be a multi-planet species to extend consciousness beyond Earth. I think for two main reasons. One is to ensure the long-term
Okay, I'm hearing up two
survival and
clicks.
prosperity of life as we know it in consciousness, which if we are a multi-planet species and ultimately a multistellar species out there among the stars, the probability of survival
How's
is
that?
much, much longer.
Is that good, Alan Lift?
That's kind of the
Also, hello
you
from
know
Reading, Pennsylvania.
defensive aspect or life insurance for life collectively. But then there also need to be things that are inspiring and exciting and that give you reason to live. Life cannot just be about solving one tragic problem after another. There
Yep.
must be also reasons to get up in the morning and be excited about the future. And a
So,
future
what do
where
you
we
guys
are a
think?
space-faring
Is this the
civilization
technical
is
presentation we were
infinitely more
promised?
exciting than one where we are not.
And we're doing it all pretty unique location. I mean, the pad's behind us. We got rocket on the tower. We got another tower with it. We're sitting inside Star Factory, and I mean, it wasn't like this for very long. This is all pretty brand new.
Yeah, I think we moved Starship
Yeah,
here in
doesn't
about
seem
the early
fancy
part
enough
of
for a
2019.
technical
So we've been
presentation.
coming that entire time and seeing the site evolve from a double wide trailer and a tent where we built Starhopper to the first suborbital test flights. And now we have behind us two towers for the first time as we build towards the first operational flight from the second tower at the end of this year. And this beautiful building, million square feet, where we're able to work towards a production line of Starships.
Yeah, the SpaceX team has done an incredible job of building out really the most advanced rocket manufacturing facility that has ever existed. This is far beyond any rocket fabrication facility
Yeah,
that has
check out
ever
these views. This
been
is
built. This
awesome.
is essentially alien level technology, and it was all built here, basically down by the Rio Grande River and close to the beach. It's an incredibly improbable location, and this used to be a sandbar. I think we're about 3 feet or about a meter above sea level. So it really was nothing. If you see the time lapse from sandbar
And it
to
truly is incredible to go there
two
in
launch
person.
towers and a
The views
gigantic rocket
are
factory
certainly pretty,
with high bays,
but
and we're going to be building something called the
There's
Gigabay,
something
which
about
is like
being
a
there in person.
one of the largest enclosed volumes on Earth. So it's sort of like
Forgive
a
me, I'm going to
gigantic
turn
Borg
this
cube
down for a minute.
that
He's
we're going to be
not
building here
talking
for
about anything
uh,
super important
yeah
yet.
for
For
floating
those of
offshore
you
in
who have been
these
around for a long
gigantic
time,
rockets.
you
So
know
it's
that
really spectacular, and
you know the
anyone can
speech.
come
We've
and visit
heard
this.
the
So
Make Life
the
Multiplanetary
because we're on a
speech
public
for several
highway,
years now. Some of
we're
us have been
literally right
hearing
by the
that
field.
since as
You can
early as
actually go and see
2012.
the rocket
But I feel like many of us,
quite close
most
up,
of
and you
us,
can drive past
started
it,
hearing that
and
speech
you
in
can also look at the
2016,
factory,
2017,
and anyone can
when
do
they
this. So
started
anywhere in the world,
publicizing
to
all of
just
their
come and visit
Starship
and check it out.
plans,
So I think it's
BFR
pretty cool
plans.
that
Who
just
remembers
not right now,
BFR?
just not
Oh
just not when we're
man,
in
the good
launching
old
because there's
days.
some safety issues.
But yeah,
But the rocket's often just sitting on the pad,
certainly a very
doing
impressive
counting,
thing that
and then
they've done.
you
Being
can just
able
come here and visit.
to
It's very
build
easy.
all of
I
this
think it's a
out,
really
get it
special
to this
place.
point
Yesterday,
where it's
the
now
ship
its
went
own
down the road
city.
behind us,
And I
and
was just
I saw
discussing this
families outside
before
going for
going
their
live of
harvest on
how
Sunday, going
it
for their
is a little bit
Sunday stroll,
nebulous
and they
of
were
how
greeted
much
by
it
Starship
seems like they
going
have
down.
pretty much
And I
full
think that from
control
the
of
very
this new
beginning,
township,
the thing
but
about
at the same
Starship, different than
time, there's
Falcon and other
still
rockets that I'm aware
some
of, is that
legal
we
things
designed it
that
to be
they
mass
have to
produced and
provide.
mass
But so
produced at
far,
scale.
they're
And it's not about
everything
building
is
one
going fine with
Starship and
the
getting to orbit
employees that
once. It's
are
about doing it
sitting on
in a
the board
sustained and
of
rapid
like
way.
the town
Yeah, we're
council
aiming
and
for
the
ultimately
different
thousands of
roles like
ships to be
treasurer
built per
and
year,
so on and so
which
forth.
is what's needed in
Um,
order to
all
start
SpaceX
the key
employees
city
right
on
now,
Mars
but
that
that might
is
not be the case
sustaining.
in the future. So
And
maybe
the major goal
someday
here
I can get a
of
property
destiny
and
will be when
run for town
a
council
Mars
someday. That would be
city is
amazing.
capable of
That would
surviving, even if
that
we
would be
reach supply
my
ships and
grandest
Earth is stopped
political
growing for any
aspirations
reason.
would be
And that reason
town
could
council
be
of
something
Starbase,
cataclysmic,
Texas.
or it could
Forget
be
being the president.
that civilization simply
Anyway,
subsided.
I'm just messing around.
Um, there's always
Oh
this
man.
debate throughout history of world civilization and with a
Uh,
banner or whatever. But either way,
LN left. Elon's remarks are overarching,
if the goal
goal-oriented,
continues
and
to get to
infrastructure
this point where Mars is
stomping, not
self-sustaining
on this mission.
and can survive,
Yeah,
even if the
absolutely.
resupply
This
ships stop
mission
coming for any
is
reason, which means
getting
that we need to
the
build the
data,
entire
the
base
test
industry on
data.
Mars in
I
order
feel like that's
for
the most
Mars to
important
survive.
thing is getting the
For
test
example,
data
it's
for
not
these heat
simply
shield
enough to
tiles,
build a
testing
city,
out the areas that have
like
either no heat
a
shield
computer chip
tiles,
factory. You
testing
need to be
out the
above a
ones that
T
are built out
to
of
build
different
a chip
materials,
factory.
testing out the ones that are
Um,
actively cooled to
so
see if
this
that's
this is
the
going to really
solution
take
that they need in
a
order
lot
to
of time, which
have,
my
you know,
guess is at least 1 million tons to the surface of
perfect
Mars.
re-entries and not
And
have any damage to the vehicle and
radiation
be able
access
to
and that, but
rapidly reuse these things.
it's gonna be a lot. Um,
There's a lot
but
riding on
this
this.
is a very exciting
Although this is
future.
a super ambitious
It's one
thing, and
which will
even if the
ensure the
results of this
long-term
flight are bad,
prosperity
they're not going to
of
stop. They're
low-Earth
going to keep
consciousness,
pressing forward
and it's
at
the critical
lightning
stepping stone
speed
to
and
get
continue
from
all of these
this
infrastructure
solar
projects, not
system
just
to
here at Starbase,
other
Texas,
star
but
systems,
also at Cape
and
Canaveral,
perhaps go and
Florida,
explore and
building the
perhaps go
launch site
encounter
for Starship
alien
there.
civilizations
So,
that maybe they're alive now, but
excuse me.
or maybe they
Things are
enjoyed a period of
definitely
prosperity for
going to
millions
move
of years
forward
and
regardless of
also
the
died out
results of
millions
this
of years
flight,
ago.
but they need a
So
success.
it's a humbling
The past
perspective of the age of
three,
the universe,
with how
according to
poorly
the standard model of
those
physics being
the
approximately
results of those
13.8
flights
billion
were,
years old. So
they
an
need
incremental
this
million
to
years, not
work.
an
They need this to
three
be a
just past the
successful
decimal
flight.
point. And
Otherwise,
if you look at, say, our civilization and measure our civilization
again, nothing's going to slow
by
down for SpaceX
the
itself, I
first
don't
evidence
think.
of writing,
But I
which
just
was
feel
about
like a lot of
5,500 years
public
ago,
support for
um,
whatever might be left
civilization
and
estimated for the
the
first
timelines that we have
writing
to meet
is
the
only
Artemis
one
timeline.
millionth of Earth's
A lot of that
existence
sort of
or
stuff
for
is riding on
yeah,
even just this
flash in the
flight,
pan
even
so
though
far.
this isn't testing any of that lunar
But we're getting
technology. I
some
mean,
cool
it all
shots.
eventually was
Rocket
going
out
to
on
be
the pad
used
right
for all of
now.
their goals. The
We're
lunar
talking like
flights,
come
of
down
course,
speed.
all
It's
of the
hard to
Martian
get like a
flights,
sense of
and
scale
the
of just
test
how
flights that we
massive
will
this thing
see
is.
of the propellant
And
transfer
we were
and
able
all
to
of the tanking
catch
tests
somebody
that they will be
working
doing
on it
soon.
a little while ago. And
Thomas
like
Polyblank,
part of the
good to see
reason
you here.
you
Oh,
said
thank you so
we're sending
much.
millions of tons,
Much
that's kind of why
appreciated.
this
And
thing
I
is
think
as
in this
massive as
image,
it
Dan, you
is.
can actually see the
All
person
right.
working
I
at the
actually
bottom of the
found
ship.
something
And
really
as we zoom
cool
out, you
for
see
those of you
the
who've been
full
around
ship,
for a
that
long
sort
time.
of
And
two-tone
goodness, that's a
silver and
beautiful
black, and then
shot
the
there.
booster below it, right? And it really sets the
Wow.
scale, which
Sorry,
doesn't come
distracted to me.
across
For those who've
hiking
been
rather than
around
in
for a long
person.
time, I
And when I do
found
tours, I like to
my
say
old
Starship is real,
Tomorrow
Starship is
mug,
big, and Starship is
the
really big.
OG
And I
mug
think you can see there, and
from
with the
well
factory shots
over
you saw earlier,
six,
again,
7 years
got
ago.
Flight 10 on the pad, but we got many more behind it.
Yeah, so
Even
I posted a
commentators need
video
rocket fuel.
yesterday of just a brief scan of
In
part of
any
the
case,
Starship
I
factory to
think
give you a
I
sense of
am
the
going
scale of the
to
factory.
turn the audio
Um,
back on
and
and let's listen
I
back
guess we'll
in
talk a bit
to
about
what they're discussing.
why Starship is the way it is.
And
like
hopefully
for
we will
example,
see
walk
some
Y is
more cool
half of the
views really
ship
soon.
black and half of it is
These are
silver
all
colored,
beautiful
and
views
that's
that we've been
because
seeing.
the bottom half of the ship, the
Hi,
bottom as seen
JTTV.
from
Good to
orbital
see you here.
entry, has a heat shield on it. So the black there is the heat shield, and then the core structure of the rocket is a special alloy of stainless steel, and that's where you see the sort of shiny silver parts are stainless steel. The reason for steel over aluminum is that the heat of
For those
atmospheric entry and the heat
who've been
of
around, show your
the rocket
support for
engines
Jamie and for bringing us
is
these
enough
amazing
to melt
views.
easily melt aluminum,
And
but steel is
these
much more resilient
all the amount of
against both
stress
ascent
that I'm
heating,
sure she has
but
to go through
especially
leading up to
the
these
reentry heating.
broadcasts. One way or
And
another,
you
regardless of
don't
the
know how to paint
results,
it,
we're going
which
to see
is
some beautiful views today.
actually
We
very
already
difficult
are.
to paint a
So
large object
show
that is
your
going through
support and
cryogenic
thanks and
cycles and
gratitude
have
for
the paint
Jamie
stay
and her
on. It's
Vader
quite
team for bringing
challenging.
us this. This is absolutely incredible.
And so we've talked about it. It's massive.
We're still
It
about
obviously takes a whole lot
a
of
little over
energy
30
to make
minutes for
that thing
launch. We're at
move.
31 minutes
And
and
that's where
33
Raptor really
seconds.
starts to come in. Most advanced engine on the planet.
And
Giant
Yes.
lightsaber.
No, that's a lightsaber
yeah,
and a half.
I love the
You would get vaporized in an instant if you were standing in
lightsaber
front
and a
of
half. Oh
Raptor.
my goodness.
So, yeah, burnt to a crisp
Can't wait till
like
they start using the
less
Raptor
than a
3s.
second. So,
So many things
yeah,
get
so in
solved
order
with
for
their
in
design
order
with
to create
Raptor 3s.
a fully reusable orbital rocket, you have to advance the state of the art in every part of the rocket. That means the engines have to be better than any engine ever. The structure's got to be better than any structure ever. You've got to you've got to have a means of bringing the rocket back to the launch pad. You've got to have a fully reusable orbital heat shield, and that no one has ever made a fully reusable orbital heat shield. The space shuttle, for example, required 9 months of refurbishment between flights. So the space shuttle heat shield would come back essentially partially broken and would require many months of refurbishment in order to fly again. What we're trying to achieve here
Not
with
just the heat
Starship is to
shields,
have
all
a
the
heat
plumbing
shield
as well.
that can be flown immediately. So the ship, both the ship and the booster, would be caught by the tower arms, and the booster would be placed immediately back on the launch stand, and the ship's got to orbit Earth at least once, um, but then could be back potentially in one orbit, but in most cases several orbits. So the ship would come back several hours later, but then be caught by the arms
You
and
know,
placed on top of the
hang on
booster.
a
You could
minute.
also have multiple ships ready
Is
so
this a
that
first?
a single booster could service
I know we're not getting any new
5 or more
information right
ships,
now from
so that
Elon, but is
you
this the
could be
first time that
flying
we've
the
actually
booster
seen
in
Elon
theory, every
doing one of
hour.
these live streams for the
This is
launch broadcasts?
kind of a profoundly
He's always
fast
been
speed,
around. Like
obviously, for
he's
the largest
been
flying
there like
object
in
by
mission
far
control,
ever
like the
made.
separate mission control at Cape
But it's the
Canaveral.
reason why we catch the
And
tower. We
there's
catch
that
the booster with the
viral
tower
clips of him
arms,
going
and the
outside
ship
to
also
to,
will be
to
caught
watch
with the
it
tower
launch,
arms
but
because
I don't know if he's ever
that's the
actually been in
fastest
this
way
situation
to
before
get
where he's been
the
at
booster and the
the
ship
the
back to flight.
broadcaster table.
Um,
Sorry for talking
if
over
we
him.
had
It
instead
just
put
occurred to
landing
me.
legs, which we have done before
That
for
just occurred to me that I
the
don't
ship
think he's
tests,
ever
we actually
actually
had landing
been
legs that flipped out,
doing this
and
before. This is cool.
the ship we've successfully demonstrated
Drew D, good
landing with
question.
legs.
Why do they want to
But
reduce the
if you do
amount of
that,
heat
if we were to
shield?
do that with the booster and the ship, here
Couple of
we'd have
reasons
to
that they want to do
land
that.
somewhere else with the legs,
Probably the
then lift
biggest
the rocket,
reason is
stow
weight,
the legs,
being able to
transport the
conserve
rocket
weight.
back to the
Best
pad,
part is no part.
which is
And the
again
more
really
weight that you can eliminate,
gigantic
the
thing,
more
and it would be
fuel that you
picked
can
up by
have.
these tower
You know,
arms
it all
and
tying
placed
into the rocket
in the
equation of how much stuff can
launch
you
mount.
actually lift
Um,
off the pad
that would
and put into
delay the
space.
reusability
So part of it is
dramatically
weight.
and would add a lot of mass to the landing
Part of
legs.
it is
So that's why we
if it's
catch the
something
rocket with
durable
the
and
tower arms,
lightweight and
because it's the same
reusable,
tower
like
arms
he's
that put
talking
the
about, where
rocket
they
in
don't have to
the
do
launch
like
mount,
on the space shuttle,
are
replacing a whole
used to
bunch of
catch
them
the
in
rocket.
between flights.
And that
And that's
means that
even
we
better.
can get the
And,
booster
and
back
and
in the launch mount in
not
less
only
than
is
an
that
hour
better
after
for
takeoff. In fact,
operations
the
and
booster's going to
speed,
come back
launch
very
cadence, all that
fast. Like
stuff, but cost,
5 or 6
not
seconds
having to
for it to come back one way or
manufacture
another, or not
millions
coming
of
back.
these things.
Um,
Um,
so
so
then we
couple,
really have propellant cool time,
pick
which means
your favorite
we're talking
reason,
about
and that's
up to
why
40
they're
minutes,
doing it.
And that
However,
means
that being said, they
there
also want
are,
to
it's
make sure
possible
that they have
to
the best
boost your
heat shield
gain in the same
tiles
amount.
that they can,
And I
especially
think
getting to that
when
whole
I think about it, it's
reusable
the truck
realm
drives up to
where
the
they
jet
don't
right,
have to
people
replace
get
the
on,
tiles all
maybe
the
people
time.
get on
And
and
that
leave.
is
You
the
don't want to
purpose
land the
of
jet
these
on a different
different
airfield and
heat
then
shield
tow it over
material
to the
tiles that
jetway.
they're
So it's just
testing on this one
operationally
and the
simpler.
previous three
Yeah, we've had a
flights
lot of
where they
success
weren't
with the
able to collect
booster.
that data.
3 for 3 on the
I mean,
touchdown.
they all
Got back to where
re-entered,
flight one,
so
so awesome.
so to
And then
speak,
again,
but
Starship
not
solar
in a
powers the whole
controlled
thing. It's
manner in order
reusable.
to
So
get the data
ship
that they were
reusability
looking
is like
for,
what we're working on
to
right
see
now.
if are
We've
they
been
on the
able
right
to
track
get
with
some really
the ceramic
spectacular
tiles that they're
re-entries
making.
on a
There's
couple of flights. Hope to
probably
get
a
this
lot of
one
problems,
for a
and I
re-entry on the
wouldn't be
boost two ship.
surprised if there's internal
But
complaints
yeah,
amongst
that
the
fully
folks who are
reusable heat
having to
shield, I think
actually
that has just never been done before.
manufacture and
That's one of the
install
things
these
we're
things
really looking
of
for that data on.
problems
Yeah,
that they are
there are
having with
thousands of
them.
engineering challenges that
And I'm not
remain
saying that I've heard any
for
reports or rumors
both the
of
ship
that.
and
This
the
is just an
booster, but
assumption of mine.
um,
You
the single,
wouldn't
uh,
there
maybe the
in
single biggest
what
one is the reusable
engineering
orbital heat shield.
manufacturing thing wouldn't you
We are
want the
confident
thing to be better?
in
Um,
making a
so
fully
yeah,
reusable orbital heat shield, but
couple
it will
couple of
require
reasons
many
that
flights, many iterations
we need to
to figure
get
out
this
where the weak
data
points
to make
are in the
sure
heat
that we're
shield,
on the right
where
track.
we need to
They're
change
going to
the
be the
design,
best performance,
either
and
strengthening the
if
tile
they
or changing
have to be in an
changing
area where,
the
by the way, love this
how big the
shot.
gap is between
Love this
tiles,
shot. Really hope that we get to see
changing
this
what's
again
underneath the
today.
tile.
Really hope that we get to see
There's
this again today.
basically
Hopefully all the buoys are deployed.
you know 100 different variables that we can
um,
tweak
what was I
with
saying?
the ship tiles,
Even if they do
the
have to
ship tiles.
refurbish the tiles and
Um,
replace them a
but
whole
the only
bunch
way to
in
know
between
exactly
flights,
what we
if it's
should
the
be
best heat
adjusting
shield
is
tile for the
to
job
fly
that protects the
repeatedly and
vehicle
be able
and
to examine
ensures
the
the
ship
safety of
upon landing.
passengers once people are
And
flying on this thing, then so
we have
be it.
successfully
But
brought the ship back
while they're in this
through the ocean
iterative
and achieved a
development,
soft landing
why
multiple
not blow
times.
up a couple of these
So we
things and
know that
figure
this is
out if
possible,
you
but we
do
have
have the
in the
best
process shed
material for
many
it or not?
heat shield tiles.
So
So we need to be able to do this without shedding heat shield
that's
tiles.
where
And
my guesstimate
do
is
so
on why they're doing
repeatedly.
these experiments with the heat
And I
shield
think what you're
tile.
seeing now is the Starship
Beautiful
with
render
CG of
of
it coming
the
in, landing on the tower, much
what
like the
ship
booster,
catch is
but
going
there's
to
some
look
additional
like.
challenges there where we need to make sure we don't scrape
We
the
might
towers
actually
off
get
as we slide
some new
along there.
information. So
We
let me
we
turn up
can't
the
shock
volume
the
and
heat
let's listen
shield.
back in again.
Yeah.
Don't crush the ship.
Rapid
Yeah, if we
reusability.
shock if we shock the tiles, then that's obviously going to fail the reusability test.
So ships can use the tower to land and catch like the booster here on Earth where towers are available. And for our initial landings on Mars and other planets, we'll need landing legs that deploy much like what you're seeing here with Ship 15 when we did our suborbital test to prove out the precision descent landing, which was a successful test. We actually landed two. One was we were able to actually recover it, and it's you can see it here in the rocket garden if you visit Starbase.
By the
Yeah,
way, we are
so the
about
rocket garden
5
that
minutes
Paul
away
mentioned,
from
we have
engine
actually a whole
chill.
bunch of boosters and ships, and we'll be adding to them over time. So you can see an evolution of Starship just by driving down the highway.
Yeah. So reusability is key. There's some other technologies we're still looking to prove out.
Exactly, Drew
Really
T.
big one
Yeah,
is going to be
probably
the
more
on-orbit
complexity too.
refilling.
The more heat
Looking
shields you got,
to
the
do that
more
next
one can
year,
fail.
and that's really what's going to kind of unlock, Starship going everywhere else, going everywhere
Is this
beyond
the
Earth.
prop demo?
And that's
The prop
something that's,
transfer
again, never been done before,
render?
kind of
Yes,
like
it
that
is.
reusable orbital heat shield, but it's going to be something
Have
that
any of you guys seen the
that's
memes
kind of some of
of
the other
where
secret
people
sauce to
will
Starship, where we're going to be able to
block
send
this out at the last
hundreds of
minute?
tons per ship
Hey, that's not safe
to
for
Mars.
work. Like,
Yeah, I like to think of it
oh
as
my
if we get to
goodness.
orbit with a
Oh
full
my goodness.
cargo
No,
bay,
don't
but
look.
we're
Don't
empty
look.
on
No, not
fuel
safe
and
for work. No,
oxygen.
no,
So
no, no.
basically,
No,
we're
don't look
running on
right there.
fumes.
No, not
Then
safe
we
for
send
work.
other ships to dock, transfer propellant, and
Maybe
now
it's
we made
just
our
me, but I love
two-stage
those
rocket
memes.
look
I think
like
that's
many, many
hilarious.
multi-stage rocket.
Cannot
And we get
wait
all of
for
that
this to
performance.
actually
And we can
happen.
take that full cargo bay now
Because when
wherever
it
we
does
want to
actually
go.
happen, what kind of beautiful
Yeah,
views are we
so
going to get then? We'll
a crucial
finally
technology
see
that we
a
hope to demonstrate
perspective, a
next year
point of
is this
view of
orbital
Starship
refueling, much
from
like
another
aerial refueling.
Starship.
It's essential for
That's going to be an awesome,
being able to
awesome
send
moment
significant
when we
payload to
finally get
Mars.
to see that.
So you essentially
Sooner the
send a
better.
ship to orbit with
I'd be
a few hundred
surprised
tons
if
of
Elon
payload,
used the broadcast for
sort
the
of a
launch.
full
This may be
payload
a
bay.
first. Me too.
But
Yeah, if
once it
he's
gets to
here,
orbit, the tanks will be mostly empty, and then you send
if
up
he's
additional
doing this,
tanker
why
ships
wouldn't he
to
stay for the whole
refill
thing?
the Mars ship's tanks, so that it can thrust from Earth orbit to Mars and have enough propellant left for landing. So this is orbital refilling is also not something that's ever been demonstrated before, so that would be a brand new technology. We obviously have at SpaceX figured out how to dock repeatedly with the
That
space
looks like
station. So in
about
a lot of ways,
where
this is
Jamie would be. I
like
wouldn't be
docking.
surprised if Jamie's in the room right
In
now.
some ways, it's easier in that SpaceX is docking with its own craft.
Yeah.
But no one has ever
Best view,
demonstrated
just turn
propellant
around and watch.
transfer in orbit, to the best of our knowledge, and so this would be propellant transfer at a very large scale. And but with full reusability and propellant transfer, those are the key technologies needed for building a city on Mars. And I'm confident that the SpaceX team, which is incredibly talented, will achieve
Hold on,
this.
Elon. There
this
has
prestigious
been
goal, and
lots
we will be
of
landing ships on Mars in the future.
this
and
might be the
building,
first time of doing this particular type of
life on
proton
Mars,
transfer
and
of
building
liquid
greenhouses
oxygen and
life on Mars,
liquid
and
methane for sure,
ensuring
without a
Mars is
doubt.
viable
First
planet as we
time
know it.
that's going to be happening
It's
if
important to note here
SpaceX
that
pulls that
obviously,
off. However,
we are
there's
effectively
been
stewards of
tons of other propellant
TMROs
transfers
that
before in the past.
the other
Russia
creatures
does it
cannot
all
build
the time. Russia
spacecraft
does it on a
get to
regular
other planets.
basis. Every
So if
single
there were to be a
Progress
cataclysmic
cargo
event,
flight
like a
that
giant
goes to the
meteor
International
that destroyed
Space
the
Station
dinosaurs,
is
but
transferring a
also
little
the
bit of
sun will
propellant
expand
to the
between valve
Zarya,
that
or not
destroy our
Zarya,
life.
to
We
the
know this
Zvezda
is
module for
this is
its
an undisputed
reaction
fact.
control thrusters.
Then
That's every single flight.
if we don't take
However,
life
yes,
to another
it's
planet,
hydrazine.
then life
It's
will
a,
likely be
a
destroyed. So it's incumbent
monopropellant for
upon us
reaction control
ensure that
thrusters.
we do bring life to other planets,
But it's still a
and
propellant
ensure
transfer,
long-term
and they
survival
figured
of
that out
uh,
back in the
life
late
as we know it on
'60s,
planet Earth.
early
And I mean,
'70s
aside
at the
from that,
latest.
there's so much
There's been
that
other
Starship
tests as
unlocks by
well.
being able to do these things.
Although
We'll be
I
able to
don't
go to
think
Mars,
anyone has
but
done a
there are other
cryogenic
just
propellant
transformational
transfer
things
in
by being able to
space
take that
yet.
many people, that much
So
stuff
they
to
could
space
be
for that much less money.
still
I mean, I
several
think
firsts, and
like
without a doubt,
understanding our
at the
planet
largest
better,
scale for
being able to
sure.
move people around the
Anyway,
planet,
let's tune back in
make it
and
feel
hear
smaller and
Stan.
more accessible. You could go anywhere on the Earth, in less than 40 minutes, basically, in terms of flight time. So I really do see Starship as being this thing that can connect us, just like Starlink connects our information. This can connect us more physically.
Yeah. So there's really nothing faster than a rocket. Really, an orbital rocket is the fastest thing that we know of of the fastest means of transport. So, like you could go from LA to Sydney in less than half an hour. You could go LA to Tokyo in less
Someday
than half
that
an
would
hour.
be
You could
cool
go
too.
from New York to Singapore in half an hour.
Here,
Everything's
I'm
probably half an
blocking
hour,
Dan.
basically.
Let me get my face out of here.
Some things might be 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, yeah, sign me up for that, please. All right, cool.
Cross the Atlantic in 10 minutes, no problem.
Please, yes, sign
Well,
me up.
you're going 25 times the speed of sound, so that's 30 times faster than a commercial aircraft.
And it's a whole hell of a lot better view.
Yeah, it's a hell of a view.
Yeah. All right, cool. Anything else, guys? Anything else
Well,
you're
I mean,
really excited about
we could
coming
say
out?
a lot more.
Yeah.
Maybe we should go check in on the rocket
Yeah.
and get
All
on
right,
console.
we're going to go back on console to hopefully the weather supports a launch tonight. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, and yeah, thanks
right.
for your support.
Thanks for
Bye.
crashing, guys.
All right.
All right, that
Back
was
on
sweet.
console
Let's
here.
turn our attention back to the rocket. So
Let's
just
hear what
checking
Dan
in, we
has
are
to
about
say.
19 minutes and change away from liftoff. As
Engine
I said
chill
right
should
at the
be
top,
starting.
weather is going to be our primary concern. We were tracking some anvil clouds. We're hopefully clearing that on the range soon. We are not currently tracking any hardware blockers to launch, but we'll continue to follow along. If anyone was following along yesterday, we actually didn't even get into our webcast as we had a leak on one of the hoses feeding the liquid oxygen into the ship through its quick disconnect. We were able to replace that this morning. Team did an incredible job, got us into an attempt today. All right, joining me now for the rest of the day is Amanda Lee. Hi, Amanda.
Thanks, Dan. I'm super excited to be here.
So Elon for the
Let's
rest of
just
the
get
day.
right
That's
into
all right.
it.
Yeah, a whole bunch has happened to get us to today's flight, our 10th flight test. Let's look back at Starship's 9th flight test in May. That did end with a rapid unscheduled disassembly on the ship and the booster.
Flight 9 marked the first reflight of a super heavy booster. We saw a successful stage separation and the first ever deterministic flip, which gives us extra performance. The reused booster was flown at a much higher angle of attack to push the envelope on capabilities, which ended up
So
causing some
gorgeous.
internal structural failure,
Let me get my
eventually
face
leading
out of
to
here.
a rapid unscheduled disassembly at landing burn.
Yeah, ship continued its ascent. We did see pressure drop in its main fuel tank and rise in the nose cone. We just had a camera view. We actually caught the failure on camera in the fuel pressurization system. Ship was able to complete its ascent, though, achieved its planned velocity and second stage engine cutoff.
After that, though, we did run into some issues with attitude control, which led us to skipping the payload deploy and Raptor relay demos. Starship eventually re-entered the atmosphere in an off-nominal
Wow.
attitude, and communication was lost approximately 46 minutes into the flight test during entry, but of course not before one heck of a light show.
Yeah. That booster rud was caused by higher than predicted forces on its structure, specifically that internal fuel transfer tube, as we were doing a higher angle of attack experiment. To fix that for remaining flights with this version of the booster, including the one behind us, we're just going to lower that angle of attack. We're relaxing those forces, and that minimizes the likelihood of structural failure.
And over on the ship side, we redesigned the part of the fuel pressurization system that failed on Flight 9, put it through a more rigorous test campaign, and after subjecting it to flight-like stresses, it did successfully run for more than 10 times the expected service life with no damage, so great test results there. Our goal is always to make it through all of the objectives we set, but any result that teaches us more about Starship performing in the real-world environment helps us to make those targeted iterations and improve quickly.
Yeah, that's how SpaceX developed our first rocket, Falcon 1. That's the same philosophy we used to develop Falcon 9, which has passed 100 flights just this year and 500 flights overall.
Yeah, incredible milestone for Falcon, and again, the way they got there was to launch, learn, and repeat.
All right, so
Awesome.
that wasn't the only thing that happened while getting ready for Flight 10. If you followed along, Ship 36, which was originally supposed to fly on Flight 10, experienced a major anomaly during a static fire test at our Massey's test site. It was in the process of loading all of its cryogenic propellant to do a 6-engine static fire when we had a sudden energetic event that resulted in the complete loss of the Starship, and we damaged the immediate area surrounding the stand out there at Massey's.
The most likely root cause was identified as undetectable or under-screen damage to a composite overwrapped pressure vessel, or COPV, in Starship's payload bay section. To address this probable cause, we're operating the COPVs on Starship at a lower pressure and also implemented additional proofs and inspection methods.
Meanwhile, though, keep our launch schedule up, got to keep testing. The team was able to pivot and use the launch pad, the one we're on today, to do ship static fire tests. It was the first time we've ever done that. Doing that retrofit was the fastest path to get back to launch. Team was able to engineer a solution where we used a transport ring to mount the ship, routed a whole bunch of extra hoses and everything to load propellants. They knocked that out in just a matter of weeks, where we had 2 static fires on the orbital mount.
Yeah, very impressive turnaround there, getting to these static fires. These static fires gave us the data
you guys
we
think that
needed
they
to
made
progress
that
to
out
launch,
of
and are a prime
one of the
example of
Starship
our
rings?
engineer and technician teams working to build creative solutions to keep us charging
Could have
forward
been that.
to eventually bring Starship online.
Otherwise, not
And
too different, too hard
even
to
while doing
order the parts
all
for
of
that.
this, we're in the process of rebuilding the test stand out at Massey's to get ready for the next generation of Starship version 3. So right now, though, we are still on track. We're looking about 14 minutes away. Again, our T0 is at 6:59 p.m. Central. While we still have a couple of moments, though, let's toss it over to Chris, who's getting ready to watch the launch out in California. How's it going, Chris?
Oh my goodness, they're watching from the new Tesla
Hey,
diner.
Dan and
That's
Amanda,
cool.
it's going great. And welcome everyone to the Tesla Diner here in Hollywood, California.
Hello,
For the
Chris.
first ever public showing of a SpaceX webcast, it's been great to see the webcast up here on the big screens at the diner. You know, throughout the afternoon, we've had members of the public coming up, mixing and mingling, enjoying some of the food, getting to watch some old science fiction, but also getting to watch
I
and
had
keep
no
up to
idea
date
they were
with
doing
what's happening
this. That's
here
cool.
for Starship's 10th
That's
test flight.
super
I think I
cool.
can speak for everyone everyone here when I say we're really looking forward to the epic views that we're
Super
going to get
envious of
from in
those
space and
Optimus
during
robots, because
atmospheric
you know they're
reentry,
going to be the
all
first ones
thanks
to get
to
to go to
Starlink.
Mars.
And speaking of Starlink, that's
Lucky
actually how we're
robots.
coming to you live
Lucky
from the
clankers.
diner, relying on one of those many reliable connections that Starlink is able to put down across the Earth and in low Earth orbit. So for a little bit more information on the immediate future of the Starlink constellation, let's head on over to Hawthorne, where my colleague Tyler Lionquist is standing by. Tyler, how's it going there? And are you ready to see a rocket launch today?
We are definitely ready for a Starship launch here in Hawthorne. Hi everyone, my name is Tyler Lionquist and I'm a Starlink business analyst here at SpaceX. Starlink is SpaceX's low Earth orbit high-speed internet that's bringing connectivity to places where you least expect it.
We know what Starlink is.
For today's mission, Starship is outfitted with
They are launching their demo Starlinks. Just a couple of steel slabs to simulate the size and shape of it, which is great. Excuse me.
And that's also where we monitor the health of our
Hello, Alan. Good afternoon from Maui. Good to see you.
For more on Redmond.
Yeah, it is nice to have some positive surprises. All right, this is their advertisement for Starlink. All right, let's listen back in.
Actually, 2/3 of the operational satellites in orbit are Starlink satellites. And then all of those Starlink satellites came from right here in Redmond.
Wait, this isn't...
We've currently got a constellation of over 8,000 satellites that are flying around in orbit. So they're working together to fill out the whole surface of the Earth, make sure everywhere can have service. So we have these laser links that are connected between the satellites, so each satellite can pass data from one to the other. That is what allows us.
Dude, they've got cameras like that on Starlinks. Why the heck isn't there a Starlink live stream somewhere? Why isn't there a 24/7 Starlink live stream somewhere? SpaceX, hear me. 24/7 live stream. What the heck?
When you think about that Starlink that you have at home, the technology that's in there and that's in your antenna is very similar to the antenna that's on the satellite. We use what are called phased array antennas, which is a fancy way of describing an antenna that's made up of many little antennas that work together in order to direct their energy to a specific spot on the ground without a motor.
Generally, satellite manufacturing is a very slow process. It takes people weeks or months to build a satellite. At SpaceX, we iterate very fast, and we have learned how to build satellites at the 70 sats a week rate. As we have focused a lot on production rate, we have not forgotten about our satellite reliability, which is critical to our mission.
If you look at the whole world and you ask, where is the satellite industry? It's right here in the USA, in Redmond, where the vast majority of satellites are being built right here. Starlink is a truly game-changing technology, and it's all supported by the global satellite constellation from this space here in Redmond. And we're really just getting started at the very beginning of what we want to do with Starlink.
Now, as we mentioned earlier in the show, one of today's objectives is for SHIP to deploy Starlink simulator
At least some shots there that we haven't seen before, so that's super cool. Super excited for this.
And as you can see here,
Oh,
once Starship reaches
new render.
orbit, the payload door will slowly
let me get my face out of here.
The Starlink satellites will be dispatched relatively quickly, one at a time.
Finally, a new render.
They'll be situated in one long stack, taking up as little space as possible, allowing for an efficient deployment sequence. And once a set of Starlinks is deployed, the next set advances and deploys until they are all drifting away from Starship to prepare for their on-orbit life. Each Starlink V3 launch on Starship is planned to add 60 terabits per second of capacity to the Starlink network. That's more than 20 times the capacity added with every V2 mini launch on Falcon 9. So we're talking about a massive increase in performance.
That's the shot. That's the shot that everyone wants. Stick a camera on one of those things.
Backbone of the missions to the moon and to Mars. But for now, we're going to turn it back over to the team at Starbase. Hey, Dan and Amanda.
Hey, thanks, Taylor. So, quick update for everybody. So weather's still the main thing that we're watching. We are currently red on the range, hoping to clear that anvil rule any moment now. That's really the only thing blocking us at the moment. Vehicle's good, pad's ready to go. All of our checkouts have been really smooth today after that repair work that we did this morning after we had to abort out yesterday. So we're looking at the weather. That's the thing we're really paying attention to right now.
Meanwhile, prop load is still ongoing. We started loading prop at about T-minus 53 minutes, beginning with ship fuel, ship blocks, booster fuel, and finally booster locks began loading at about T-minus 35. We'll continue loading prop until just about 3 minutes before liftoff.
Yeah, it does.
And ship will conclude first, and then 30 seconds later, booster will finish up.
Yeah, so bottom line, we're looking great in the vehicle. We're looking really good range. We're just really watching.
By the way, here
that weather.
is the
So
current
we're still waiting
weather.
to hear that that's clear. That's the only thing that could potentially stop us
Great
today.
right now, but also
Okay,
not
now
super
let's talk
horrible.
about Mars, since everything we do is part of our foundational
see.
mission to get to the red planet. Each Starship launch is to learn more and more about what's needed to make life multiplanetary and to improve ship to the point where it's eventually taking millions of people to Mars.
That's right. We're looking ahead to begin sending the first Starships to Mars next year. These initial ones are going to go without humans. They're just going to put minimally viable landers on the surface, land right on the skirt, no legs. This will just help prove we can actually get to Mars, focus on learning just as much as humanly possible, demonstrating what's needed for Mars transit and the ultimate landing.
Then, during our next window from 2028 to 2029, we'll attempt to land the initial infrastructure and start delivering more equipment while evaluating available resources on the planet. And we'll also have Optimus on board for the ride, designed to do the initial heavy lifting.
See? Lucky
Beyond
Clanker,
that,
they get
by
to be first.
2030, 2031, as these windows open up roughly every 26
I
months.
love this shot, though,
we'll
the
continue to
recreation of
increase
that
the amount of
Empire State
payload we're
Building
sending
picture.
on each ship as we're building out more infrastructure, mining resources, generating propellant for ships to come back from Mars.
They've
By
got lunch
2033,
boxes
we
full of
want to
nuts and
double the
bolts.
amount of payload per ship as we just get closer and closer to building a self-sustaining presence on the red planet.
Yeah, very exciting missions ahead, and these
refresh
first missions to
that.
Mars are going to be crucial to setting up what we'll need for humans to eventually inhabit the planet, and we won't be doing this alone.
Right.
The Italian Space Agency and SpaceX recently
All right.
signed a first-of-its-kind agreement.
There was a little
to carry
poll
down
that
the
I put
experiments on the
into
first Starship missions to
the
deliver
chat
customer
here
payloads
on
to Mars.
YouTube,
These payloads
asking,
will
what do you
include
think's
a
going to happen?
deep
Is it
breath
going to launch
experiment,
today, or are we
weather,
going to have another
weather
delay?
monitoring station, and a radiation sensor to gather
77% of
scientific
you
data
have
during
said that
Starship
it's going to
approximately
launch,
6
and
months
20, actually it's
interplanetary
adjusting
space
still.
from Earth to
20,
Mars,
it's now
and also on the
75% think
Martian
it's going to
surface.
launch today, and
Really
25%
exciting
of you
vision.
think that it's going to
make it
scrub.
happen, we're gonna need
We
to
are
launch
super
a whole
close.
lot more. We're gonna
5
need a whole
minutes
lot
and
of people
37
that are gonna
seconds.
come and help
We
us
are
build
only
this.
about
Makes it really
2
fun for
minutes
me
and
to come to
10
work and
seconds
you
away
build these
from
things.
propellant
Which is really
loading
fun
being
for you.
complete.
Yep, very exciting.
A lot of things have to
Alright.
happen
Looks
in
like we're about 5
sequence
minutes
in those
from
last couple of minutes there,
Starship's 10th flight test.
but it's
Range is
getting
still looking
serious. We're
good,
super
still have an
close.
eye
This
on the
could
weather
still
at the
scrub
moment, and
at like
prop load is
T-minus
also
40 or
continuing
something like
on
that,
the
but
stages
this
of
is
Starship.
looking
Yeah, I'm
pretty
pulling it up real
close.
quick. So we
Super
are
excited.
We're almost closed out on the booster. We're about 90% on fuel, about 90% on locks. Just
Next
a bit
year,
below.
I guess
So
if
again,
you're
we're
not
gonna continue
re-entering, yeah.
filling for about the next 2 minutes. Once we're completely done with that, we have about 11 million pounds of liquid propellant on board those 2 stages of Starship. So a lot of propellant to move really big rockets really fast away from South Texas. So once we get close, all of our ground systems will prepare themselves. They do what's called pushbacks. They'll clear out all of those feed lines, push back into the prop farm, and just prepare the area around it. We're doing our final guidance and navigation checks right now. The automated flight safety system is about to get armed. We're just really preparing the vehicle to get ready to go.
Sorry about that, folks.
Actually, I'm not sure if
Turn
we
that
passed it
back up
already,
there.
but we do a final thrust vector control, check out the TVC. We'll wiggle the engines that we use to actually steer the rocket itself. Everybody's favorite topic, if we need to hold. That hold would come at T-minus 40 seconds. We can hold if we're still waiting for the weather to clear, which is our big item today, or if any other last-minute issues pop up. We'll only hold there if we have an issue. Still waiting to hear confirmation that the weather has cleared. That's the only thing.
Ooh, look at that beautiful shot. Oh my gosh. Are they going to bring us shots like this?
Now, once we pass that T-minus 40-second mark that Dan was talking about, a number of events are going to occur in rapid succession. The
Oh
ground
my
spin and ignition
goodness.
systems come up to flight pressure, and ship will
I
switch
am
over
so
to internal
shocked
power.
that they just cut to
After that, the quick
even though just
disconnect or
momentarily.
lockout is
Oh my
removed in
gosh, if they
preparation
cut to
for
that
retraction, which
during
occurs
the
shortly after T0.
ignition,
And
that's
once
going
we
to be
pass that
super
T-minus
cool.
40-second mark, we
Oh,
do still
man.
have the ability to then recycle the count under certain conditions back to T-minus 40 seconds and hold there to assess what happened, and if we can proceed again back to liftoff.
Yeah, we hope that doesn't happen, but it has previously. I promise not to psych anybody this time. We do have some kind of points of no return. Once the water starts flowing out of that flame deflector under the launch mount, that
propellant
happens
load should be
just a
complete.
little after T-minus 10 seconds. If that triggers and then we hit a hold, that would be a scrub for the day. We have to refill the water tanks, can't turn it off, got to refill prop, all that stuff. So that's kind of the major watch item. You'll see a big splash under the launch mount, and if we see that go and then you hear a hold, that would mean that we're done for the day. But
all right, we will find out very soon. Propellant loading should be complete on both ship and booster. And next step.
And yeah, I didn't disappear. Sorry, everybody listening in as the flight director for today is going through some of the final checks. We are still red on the range for weather. We are closing out prop load right now, though.
Okay. Yeah, as we wait and hear what's going on, we can just quickly review some of the test objectives for today. On the booster side, we're of course hoping for all 33 of those Raptor engines to power our ascent ahead of hot staging. And once that stage separation occurs, booster will perform that directional flip before the boost back burn. One of the interesting experiments we're doing today is upon our landing burn, which typically ends with those 3 center engines lit. We're going to be intentionally shutting one of those off and instead lighting one from the middle 10 ring. And this is just to kind of give us an idea of what it would look like if we ever had an engine out scenario.
Yeah, using our time to really push the envelope.
Yeah. We got good gimbaling.
And so at this point, we are fully closed out on our prop load.
You guys see that little quick twist there?
Coming up on a minute and 20. We are still red on the range for weather.
They cut to this again. That means they're going to cut to it during ignition. Holy cow.
-40 to see if we can clear that anvil cloud roll.
Good luck, SpaceX. Good luck, Jamie.
Blocker we currently have to
Good luck, everyone at SpaceX who has worked so hard to make this happen. Oh, my God. All right. Minute away. Weather does not look good.
Did just get confirmation, so we are expecting to hold at T-minus 40. We are still red on the range for weather.
Okay.
So look for the clock to pause in just a couple seconds.
Clock is paused.
And pause. So we'll hang out here for minutes. We do have
Let me go back
till
here.
the end of the window. We won't have 30 minutes of hold time to hang out, as we can't. We're essentially not replenishing prop on the vehicle at this point, so we have to keep a close eye on things like temperatures inside the tanks. We can only hold for so many minutes before things start to warm up. Surprise, it's hot in South Texas. So.
All right.
Yeah, while we're holding here at T-minus 40 seconds, we reviewed our test objectives for booster, but why don't we chat ship for a second? After stage separation, ship will continue onwards up through its ascent to the planned suborbital trajectory.
There's a good view.
Once it reaches there, we'll undergo SECO, or where the second stage shuts off its engines. We're hoping to deploy 8 dummy satellites today, which are modeled after Starlink V3. We're also planning to attempt a in-orbit burn, so we'll relight one of those Raptor engines while in space, and that will occur ahead of re-entry, where we'll also be testing multiple experiments, including missing tiles, metallic tiles, and intentionally loading those vehicles' flaps. And then hopefully we'll conclude today's test flight with a soft splash down in the Indian Ocean.
Yeah, definitely want to see a ship on the other side of the planet today. We did just get a quick update. So the range is fully green. Weather is still red. So we are still tracking a detached anvil rule, which essentially there's an anvil cloud that's too close to our launch site, and it needs to move further away. Until it moves further away, we can't lift off. So we are expecting an update.
All right, poll is
in
still
a couple of
live.
seconds,
You can change your
potentially.
answer if you think.
Again, we can hang out here.
What do you
for
think? Is it going to
several
launch
minutes.
today, or is it
We're
going to
not
scrub?
actively replenishing.
And
prop
maybe I should end this poll in the next minute here, and
and
let's
get
start
an
another
update
poll
now.
on what we think the results of today's flight is going to be. Well, before even that, let me know in the chat. Comment in the chat. What do you think is going to happen today? Do you think that they'll at least get past lifting off past the tower?
Weather update right now.
Oh, let's listen in. Getting a weather update. Or maybe he's getting quick delay.
And team's looking at it. Again, we're just tracking this anvil rule still. It's our only blocker today. Range is green, vehicle is green. Weather is currently red.
10-minute hold, do you think? Possibly.
All right.
Might have as much as 10 minutes.
Sad voice coming in. We did just hear that we are still going to be red. So at this point, we are essentially transitioning this to be a wet dress. So wet dress is when we fully load prop on board the rocket. So we are going to see the clock probably start up again. But once they get down to 10 seconds, they're going to abort out, and then we will be done for the day.
Oh, my goodness.
Sad news, not going to launch today. Weather got in our way, but you can only control so much. Can't always control the weather. Can't control the weather. I wish we could control the weather. We're not there yet.
Well, they're doing the countdown right now.
Wouldn't that be nice? So we are seeing the clock rolling, but again, we're going to get down to T-minus 10 seconds.
Unless there's a mutiny and it just takes off anyway.
And then we're going to start.
That would be hilarious.
All of the propellant.
All right, what's going to happen, chat? Is it just going to take off anyway?
If you are just tuning in.
No, they wouldn't do that.
Yeah, it's not going. There it goes. Back to T-minus 40. So, again, we essentially turned today into a wet dress. So, today still
it would take forever to get a license back. And if it was catastrophic, that would delay things even more.
Yeah, still learning something. We were able to fix the issue that kind of bit us yesterday, where we had a leaky hose that was feeding liquid oxygen into the ship.
Okay, that was the only console I finally heard.
We were able to fix that,
but
weather got us today. So, no launch today. We do have a phenomenal logistics team, though, so we should hopefully be able to replenish prop, everything. We don't have to refill all the water tanks because we didn't fire off the deflector, but we'll have to reload the prop. So very good chance that we can try again tomorrow. We'll obviously update everybody
I
online.
knew it. I knew it. I knew it was going to get moved to Tuesday.
Couldn't go today. Don't worry. We'll probably go tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you all for joining us today, and we hope to see you when we do.
Oh, my goodness.
Go for launch.
Okay.
So obviously, follow our account on X at SpaceX. We'll share information as soon as it comes available. We'll also be updating the web at spacex.com.
Oh, my goodness.
So thanks for joining us today. Exciting countdown. Weren't able to get off the ground, but we'll give it another shot tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.
Well, thank you, Dan. Thank you, SpaceX team. Thank you for everyone who has contributed towards this. Still okay to have a wet dress rehearsal, and still okay to have what do you call it? A rehearsal of at least the broadcast. So I'm glad that we got to that point, that the broadcast started and we got to this point in the hold. Although it sucks to have a scrub. This time, though, due to weather. So thankfully, not because of a problem with the vehicle. So that's good. I just knew in my bones that this was gonna get moved, but on the off chance that it wasn't, I wanted to make sure to start this. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in and joining me today. Yeah, one cloud is most likely what the problem was. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you everybody for being here. I would like, for those of you who are still here, I would like to give you this opportunity to give me some last minute requests for a space pod that I am making for regular release schedule for tomorrow on Tuesday. And that will come out before. Should that be Starship related, I feel like we're getting so much Starship content right now. And what I have been working on is talking about the boost trunk. And we were able to get just this morning the CRS-33 Cargo Dragon docked with the International Space Station. So it is currently at the station now. And we will be getting updates as to when they're going to do the ISS reboost. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the capabilities that just these little bit of extra fuel tanks and extra thrusters are able to add to Dragon, and what that could add to in the future. So that's what I've been kind of working on right now. But I do want you guys to start getting more active in the community and letting me know what sort of topics that you would want to do. I way long time ago, back in the space vidcast days, we used to have a wiki that had a whole list of topics of stuff to talk about. And I'm thinking about doing that again someday. Oh my goodness, now we're getting ads up on here. I'm sorry, let me get blah blah. um I am thinking about um a couple of different series ideas that I would like to do. And I do want to get kind of a bit more of a feedback as to whether or not we should start doing live streams for some of the less popular launches. Obviously, everyone is super involved with Starship, and this is one of several hundred streams that were up today regarding the flight of Starship. And honestly, there's nothing that we can do to compete with those guys unless we have better cameras that we set up on site and some other sort of crazy situation. um, we're not going to be able to do anything better than what NASA spaceflight is doing. Um, so, uh, if we were to do some of the less popular launches, like even just a regular random Starlink launch, the purpose being more as a place for us to hang out together. And I would love to start doing some of these reaction videos with some of y'all. So if you have a camera and a microphone, I can hit you up with the guest link, and you don't even need to download anything. You don't have to sign into Zoom or any other sort of application. I can just give you a link. It's going to ask you permission to access your camera and microphone, and you can join the stream with me. So I would love, my vision is for us to, even if it's just a random Starlink launch, we've got 4 or 5, 6, 20 of us all at once. I don't think that there is a limit. And if there is, I would love to find out what the limit is and break that with you folks someday. So it's a lot to ask to be on camera. And if you don't want to have your face on camera, I would still love to get audio if you're comfortable with that, and we can have conversations about the launch, about rocketry, about the news of the week. And s- something that I have been sad and maybe nostalgic about is the lack of people that are watching the streams at Texas's Hawthorne facility. And so maybe we recreate, even for a random boring old Starlink launch, we recreate the cheers during booster landing and payload deployment and all of those different phases of flight that used to be electric. And it makes me sad to say, but those days might be numbered when it comes to Starship. Once Starship is launching the majority of Starlink satellites, it's just going to be boring and routine. And I am not looking forward to that. Um, so let's that's just my idea. That's my proposal. People are shy, so maybe not everyone will be down for that. Not a whole ton of people here right now either, but um in any case, I love you guys. Let me catch up on the chat here and see what you guys are talking about. Sarah Looper, you're welcome. I'm glad that we were able to be here today. Yeah, cloud, one cloud. I'm just more into the I think that the booster trunk of the Dragon spacecraft is very underutilized, and I'm glad that we're putting in extra fuel tanks for the reaction control thrusters, and super glad that this is going to be a permanent upgrade, not just a one-off. And there's still plenty of room to put other pieces of cargo, exposed cargo back there, or other capabilities. So I love seeing any sort of thing to continue upgrading the Dragon spacecraft and the Falcon series of rockets. I don't know about you guys, but how cool would it be if they made one more um, Falcon upgrade and made it same size, it's the same diameter and everything like that, but it's made out of stainless steel. It's using methane and using Raptor engines, and is even more capable than the Falcon rockets that we have today. I would love to see that. They won't do that though, because once Starship is fully operational, there would be no need. It'd still be cool to see though. Melanie says all progress is exciting, especially coming from a lesser known spot. Absolutely. Yes, more live streams, says Sakura's Light. One vote for more launch streams. Oh man, doing Kerbal lives. Yes, yeah. I would love to show you guys how I play Kerbal. Tomorrow, pioneer all those guys. Can't stream anything else. That is true. We did pioneer all those guys. So thank you. Thank you, Sarah, for your loyalty and sticking with us. Yeah, I actually did do a Madison. I actually did do the most recent Soyuz launch of the Bion M spacecraft. I did do a live launch stream for that, so you can look back in our library there, and you should see that. That was just last week, I believe. Yeah, that was just last week. So that was fun. Didn't have a whole ton of people show up for it, but it was fun, and I was certainly the only person, I believe, who was streaming that in the West. Yeah, it was being streamed in Russia, and they just didn't need any. They don't have any other streamers. They just needed Roscosmos to do it. But so yeah, it's stuff like that no one else is doing a stream for. I would love to do that so we don't have competition, just in case folks do turn in. Other than the person who's doing the launch themselves, I guess that's the competition, which is a weird way to think about it and say that. In any case. Alan, do they need to be better at launching in bad weather? Yes, they do. If Russia can launch in snowstorms and thunderstorms, then we can too. Nah, it's okay. It's all right. It's more about the upper level winds, I think, and the wind shear, and how just a couple of kilometers up things can change drastically. So probably a good reason. And maybe that should be a video, is going over all the different weather, the types of clouds, and the types of conditions that, at least here in the West, have us prevent us from launching. Another reason why I think that Soyuz is the best is because it can launch through all sorts of crazy scenarios. Yeah, data around Starbase can be iffy. Ellen, a rundown and spotlight on small space companies is cool. Also, upcoming big missions is good to look forward to. Yeah, absolutely. And here's a follow-up question, because I've thought about doing that. Should I do it as like a series or just randomly? Because if it's like, I feel like if I do it randomly, there's not going to be much organizational structure to it. Like, 1 week it might just be, breaking news videos of crazy things that happened this week. And then the week after that, I'm releasing videos that are like a spotlight highlight video about a startup company or a smaller company, talking about their history, what they do, blah, blah, blah. And it's just kind of random and disjointed. So should I have it structured in a series and then break that into subcategories of, here's all the rocket stuff, here's all the satellite stuff, here's all the telescope astronomy type of stuff, things like that? Or am I overcomplicating it by thinking of it in series, and just do them as they come out? So that's my question for you. Just do them randomly as I get interested, and knock them off the list. And let's set up that list of topics that we want to see, and we'll make that an ongoing living draft. And I'll just start going down the list and doing the highlight videos on these different companies, and going over who they are, what they are, and all that sort of stuff. So that's my question for you. Set it up as its own separate series on its own release schedule, not on a separate channel here on this channel, but or just randomly put them out as we get around to them for the list of companies that we come up with. So yeah. Greg Woods, us introverts say hell no, but lower prestige launches are still interesting. hangouts. I think you're saying hell no to coming on stream with me and either getting on camera or even just getting on microphone and chatting with us. Although I would love it, though. I would love it. Oh man. Yeah, dragon trunk arm. I would love to see a robotic arm back there. Oh man. So one request to enable closed captions during live stream. I will look into that. That is my bad. One of the hundreds of things during setting up uploads and streams that I probably didn't even think about clicking. So thank you. Let me write that down on a checklist because I probably didn't do that for this one either. No, that's unrelated stuff. Let's do it on this paper since this is all tomorrow stuff. Yeah. Thank you for that reminder. And Greg Wood says anything but the Russian stuff. Fair, fair, fair. I like it. Just the rocket, but totally fair. Besides, they don't launch very often anyway. And even the handful of launches a year that they do, they only stream like 4 or 5 of them. The crew flights, the cargo flights, and maybe one more if it's something special and civilian scientific, not a military launch. Anyhow, let me catch up to the rest of chat here. Yeah, Melanie, despite Australia's launch being a failure, it was still massively exciting to see them try. Absolutely. And now that we are after their launch attempt, maybe I can finally get some response and in this lull and set up an interview with somebody. If not their founder, then somebody with them, with Gilmore Space. Because, yeah, I would love to see them, even though they're doing a hybrid system, I would love to see them be successful and represent Australia. So yeah, that's a good one. Gilmore, and let's follow up about the interview with them. I've had a hard time getting folks to commit to interview with me. I've had several good email discussions, but when it actually comes time to committing to a time to do it, and I'm not even asking them to do it live on a live broadcast to you guys. I'm willing to work around their schedule and do a pre-recorded thing. And I kind of want to do pre-recorded so that I can edit it and insert media and pictures of whatever their thing is and make it look good. I really want to represent people in their best light. Sorry, I am on that screen still. Let me just we don't have much to see there, so let me go back to just go to full screen here. Yeah, that's good enough. Forgot what I was saying. Sorry. Yeah, we had interviews. I want to represent people in their best light. And even with all that sort of stuff, it's been really hard to get folks for those who have responded to me and have gone back and forth of talking about what they want to do, or rather just their willingness to be interviewed. And then finding the time to actually do it has been another thing entirely. So in like right here with the case of Gilmore Space, now that there is kind of a in between lull for them, maybe they have more availability and would be willing to launch something down. So thank you for that reminder. I will follow up with them to see if they are down for that because I would love to know more about their stuff. Sebastian, so great. Thank you. I appreciate it. Astronomy, yes. I really want to be able to enable Jared to be the astronomy expert. I am not the astronomy expert. I'm not a rocketry expert either. I just pretend to be on TV. But Jared, he's the real, and I want to be able to enable him to make more astronomy related videos. Anyway, Oh, Colton, you're right. Closed captions don't work on ultra low latency streams. And that is more important, in my opinion, than closed captions. Um, and they can always add those on after the fact, after the post processing. So, yeah, sorry about that. Man, I am far behind. Sorry, guys. Let me catch up with this. More Chinese stuff from Greg Woods. Looks like they're going to get there first. Yeah, back to the moon. Actually, I should. I've been wanting to actually to do. It might turn into a longer video, but I kind of wanted to make a guide to the Long March series and try to make it as quick as possible, so that every time that another Long March comes up, you're like, okay, which one is this one again? So I could do a series of like, all right, we've got Long March 3B and we've got Long March 5. These are the ones that are hypergolics. These are the ones that use liquid oxygen and the cryogenics. These are the ones that use the methane systems. These are and try to do that quickly in such a way that a quick reference of randomly when Soyuz 8A comes up, wait, which one is that again? Is that the one that uses methane, or is that the one that uses regular kerosene, or is that one of the ones that is hypergolic? So just a quick reference video, just at least for the Long March stuff, and then go in more detail of their different vehicles and following their progress for their lunar lander, their crew capsule, and their space station stuff. They're planning on doing a expansion of their Tiangong space station. Me and Jared both are excited for their detachable Hubble Space Telescope that they're going to launch, called Juntian. That is a telescope that is going to be free flying like Hubble, but with the capability, with its own service module, to rendezvous with Tiangong, dock with it, be refueled because it uses hypergolic monopropellant, the same method that the Russians use to refuel all of their vehicles, and then detach from the Tiangong and keep flying again. And if there's anything wrong with it, if there's anything wrong with its optics or any other systems, they can do an EVA and replace it. If they even need to do an EVA, because they are having little mini robotic arms on that end, that it's going to be planned to be its permanent docking port and will be a free and available as its docking port even in the future. Um, Lots of cool stuff, super impressive. And so, yeah, I would love to do a deep dive into the Chinese stuff. It gets a bit intimidating because it suddenly becomes so much stuff. So let me know where we should start. And again, let me finish creating that living document, and I'm going to share that on our Discord. There should be a link to our Discord channel in the description, that you can join, and I will post links to that there, and I'll open it up to like a free edit so that you can add your submissions and suggestions, and we can break this down into manageable topics. For I'm aiming right now for shorter videos, like 5 to 10 minute videos is what I'm aiming for the pre-produced on demand stuff. So yeah. Um, so yeah, would love your guys' help to help divide that up and narrow it down, for because otherwise it just becomes this nebulous thing, and I am not good enough to be editing hour-long videos together at this stage. Interview space museums, planetariums, observations, and space-related research. Actually, I moved recently, and I'm actually closer in my neck of the woods here in Arizona to the Challenger Space Center, which isn't actually a NASA center, it's a museum, but it was founded by family members of survivors of the Challenger crew. Um, I'm forgetting the names right now. It's somebody's widow, I believe, was the main lady who set it up. But it's mainly a place for kids. But I've never actually been there before because it was on the complete opposite end of my city, Phoenix, and so I've never actually visited there. So I'm going to visit there. I'm going to reach out to the folks there and get some interviews with them. And actually, speaking of my local area, there's a ton of cool stuff that happens at ASU, and I've been meaning to hit them up to see what's new and going on and who I might be able to talk to. My contact used to be Scion Proctor many, many years ago. And she is. n- It's not that she's no longer working there; it's that she became an astronaut, and it's huge now. So, anyway, those are two things that are not too far away for where I am now that I should look at, and that's a great start. But you specifically mentioned planetariums and observatories, so there's also some stuff like that that I would like to start doing. I might actually take a trip up north to the Lowell Observatory. It's an old observatory. There's many others that are much more capable, but it's the one where Pluto was discovered. So some cool stuff to see um, at that spot. Colton says you can also inject captions through the API, but would need a transcriber or some software on the encoder side. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah, Greg Woods. It does get super confusing. Long March rockets are confusing, and there's all these independent companies. That's a whole other video in and of itself. All right, here's all the companies, and I'm putting them into two categories. Here's the ones that are serious, that have built stuff and look like they're building. Because they're all building in the same area near the Wenchang Space Center on Hainan Island. And then there's the other group that are just PowerPoint presentations, and they're not serious yet. So let's focus on these guys that are actually building stuff and make sense out of all of them. And there's another good question is, do we use their Chinese names, or do we use the translations for what their names are? Like, instead of saying Zhuqiu, we call it, what is it, the red peacock or something like that? That's not what that stands for. Let me translate that right now, because there was one of them. No, it does mean that. It means a vermilion bird. So red bird. ZhuQ rocket. That's one of the methane ones. That means red bird. So do we continue using the Chinese name, or do we use its translation? Because I feel like it would be a lot easier to keep track of these things using their translation. I hate to say that. That sounds so ignorant of me, but I don't speak Mandarin. So I don't know, man. But yeah, should we do that? Instead of saying, "Oh, we have got a ZhuQ launch coming up. Ah, we've got a red bird rocket. We got a vermilion bird rocket coming up," and that's how we keep track of it. And at least for me, that helps to make sense of things. But I don't want to be the only one using that terminology, and then nobody knows what I'm talking about. So I need your help to make it a thing. Yeah, Colton is a. I wish that we still had the forum. We used to have a forum. Um, uh, we used to have our own Reddit. What am I trying to say? There wasn't really chat rooms, but there was lots of cool things that we had several years ago where we could do exactly what I'm talking about, of having living documents and suggestions. And there were whole topics of conversation that were branching off, but it kind of died, and eventually it got shut down in between when I was working here at Tomorrow Last. So I wish we had that again, but that's okay. It's a lot of work to maintain. And right now, our engagement and participation is pretty low. So might not be worth it right now, but I would love to have that again. But in the meantime, if you guys are okay with it, Google Drive is free. I'll just make a document. Like I said, make it open so that anybody can edit it. You don't even have to sign in. You can just be a guest. Um, I might have it so that you have to submit it as a comment first before I add it to the list, in case somebody abuses this and starts just completely destroying the document and typing a bunch of stuff. But it's good enough for now until we have a need to start rebuilding websites. Pike order. If you ever want a field operative, I can cover Ohio and Pennsylvania, Indiana. About it. I was thinking about that. How cool it would be if we were the ones who were covering all of the Wallop stuff. I know Virginia is a little bit more east. That's outside of that zone that you just said. But it would be, especially once all the Neutron flights start happening and all of the Firefly Aerospace and Antares rockets fly again from Wallops. It'd be cool if we were the ones who were providing the best coverage of that. Gilliam, regarding random videos versus more coherent series, I think it's just finding an umbrella name for the randomness, like what we are at with, and can tackle shortest videos at will. I think I get what you're saying. Ruh-roh. I am getting a imminent severe alert. Oh, it's just a dust storm warning. Here in Arizona, we get large dust storms that can resemble haboobs. So what about this? What if we called it something like just called it "Where are we at?" Where are we at? Dot 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 with SpaceX, with Blue Origin, with Varda Space, with Astroforge, with blah 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 blah. So I think I like that. Let me know what you guys think. And thank you for sticking with me. I know this scrubbed quite a while ago, but I love how we're having this little planning meeting right now. So thanks for being here and sticking with me while we're discussing this idea. Um, so yeah, what if that's the series? It's still kind of random, but it has that theme. I love that as an umbrella name, and we can use that as a thing because that's it's that structure, that organization that I sometimes struggle with, and then get lost in the details and get overwhelmed. And next thing you know, I'm working on like 7 different projects at the same time, and then just get overwhelmed. So, um, where are we at with dot 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 company name here? I love that. Thank you. Thank you, William or William. Catch Jared at work. Yeah, actually, I should go make a trip over there. It's only like a 6-hour drive. I should go make a trip and go see him at Griffith, and make him do the tours that he's been giving there for years. Oh man, yeah, Behringer Crater's here. I could go visit Behringer Crater if you guys want me to go see that here in Arizona. Go check out the gift shop. Isn't it amazing? We have this enormous mile-wide crater, and somehow it missed the gift shop. It's a miracle. Oh man. About the Chinese stuff. Use both Chinese name and English translation to gain the most understanding. Tiangong and Heavenly Palace are the same, but it's still Chinese space station. True. True. Yeah, Discord replaced the forums, and don't have any good channels for the forums. But I just need to make something like the TMRO.tv/Discord that redirects. There is no Discord link in the description. Just had to find the old link that Jamie made. My bad. Is that broken? It sure is. How long has that been going on for? Because that used to be good on all of the descriptions for uploads. My apologies. That's one more thing to look at. All right, I'll fix that. Thank you for putting the link in the chat earlier, Colton. All right, we'll talk later then. Yeah, we'll talk later, Colton, and we can discuss some ideas. I actually did put up a channel on there of topics, and my intent was to list a couple of topics and then have you guys vote on them. Like, here's 4 things that are interesting to me this week. Which one would you like to see a video made out of? Because I can only do 1 or 2 of these. Um, so that channel does exist right now, although I haven't actually used it in several months to have you guys vote on anything. Um, there was someone who was complaining about the getting hit with the at everyone tags, and eventually it got down to, all right, then just mute the channel, then don't discourage people from participating in the making of this show. Anyway, um, don't need to go into more of that. Wait, where is Wallops? Wallops, Virginia. Wallops Island, Virginia. Yeah. Random without structure sounds like my man cave. Yes, can you use the Chinese stuff? Not sure what you mean by that. If you're talking about copyrights and stuff like that, I don't give a damn. They steal so much stuff that even if it's directly from CCTV, I do not care. And I don't care about giving them any credits either. They steal so much stuff that, and like, even if it's some dude on Weibo or something that's a Chinese social media site, um, even if I like put their watermark on screen, uh, it's not like it's linking us from here to go and then follow them. So I don't know. Holy cow, Uncle BS in the chat. Hi. Haven't seen your name in a long time. Anyway, I'm just discussing show stuff right now. Um, uh, I've been enjoying making some of these space pods, but yeah, I definitely want to get more of a structure. I love the idea of where are we at with? Where are we at with dot 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 X company? And actually, another thing that's here, actually, someone just there's some city in AZ built around astronomers. Kinda. I feel like that's up north more. Um, yeah, glad to see you here. Glad to have you here, Uncle BS. Long time viewer from way back in the Space Vidcast days. Warms my heart. There's a handful of you. There's like 40 or 50 of you whose usernames stick in my head from so many years ago. From the aughts, from the '08s and onward. Oh my goodness. Anyhow, um, so yeah, I love that idea of, and the great thing about that title is it can be an introduction to a new company or a new idea, and it can also be used as the follow-up when something new happens or when progress is made or something like that. So I really love that. Um, and yeah, I'm going to discuss a couple things with Colton, and for those of you who are on the Discord channel, I'm going to start putting some more things in the topics channel, and let's try to get that more active again and get our community going again. For us OGs that have been here for so long, and let's, even if it's just us hanging out, I would love to have a reason for us to get together, and would love to have more launch parties with everybody, even if it's just a random boring Starlink launch. So, with that though, we don't really have any other updates or anything else right now. Um, I'm not even going to bother looking at weather predictions, although it is saying that the weather looks pretty favorable tomorrow as of right now. But who knows? Who knows? That could change. So here's hoping though that we get a 24-hour turnaround or possibly even sooner, and are able to light this candle and get flight 10 off the ground, and hopefully everything goes well for this flight, and we can move on to the other tests that they want to do and refine the system for block 3 and get Starship fully operational so that all of our dreams can come true. You know what I mean, though. You know what I mean. When launch? Yeah, when launch? Hopefully tomorrow. We'll see. They may announce something tonight. They may. We might not find out anything until the morning. At least 12 hours from now. So we'll see. But today was still a cool thing here. Let me get. I believe he. Hang on, Uncle BS. Let me get you the link. Copy. Yes. Dust storm. I actually kind of want to step outside and see if we're actually going to get a good haboob or not. Oh, Colton beat me to it. There you go. Cool. And just in case that doesn't work, here is another link. That is only valid for 7 days, though. So, and either of those links should work, though. But yeah, I'm curious if that one that Jamie made. I believe that's the one that you just shared, Colton, which I couldn't find for some reason. So I just grabbed my own personal invite link. I hope that still works, and I'm going to go back in and double check the descriptions, figure out why that's, because I know that was in there. Why didn't that carry forward? I will find out. In the meantime, though, I think I will go ahead and sign off for now. I appreciate you guys being here and sticking with me and chatting about some of these things regarding our show and what we're going to do in the future. Thanks for some requests from some of you guys, and yeah, hopefully have quite a few more things in the future here. Oh, there was one more thing that I was just thinking about in regards to my local area, Arizona. South of me is Tucson, and I'm thinking about going, if I can, if they'll let me in. They might not. I got to ask really nicely, but I'm thinking about trying to go and get a tour at Phantom Space. That's oh my gosh. Why am I spacing his name right now? Oh my gosh, he was there with Elon at when he was trying to buy a rocket from the Russians. Jim Cantrell. That's Jim Cantrell's company. The reason that it scrubbed gaming guys is because, or gaming eyes too. The reason that it scrubbed was because of weather. There was too many what they call anvil clouds, which were mainly affecting more of the wind speed in the upper level, several miles above the surface. So unfortunately, they had just to scrub because of that weather condition. And I see that you're actually watching from Twitch. You might be one of the first that I've seen as a question from Twitch. And I actually am wanting to get some information from Jamie, because I would like to go live on Twitch more, and maybe sometimes just exclusively for some Kerbal Space Program plays that I do. I'm really big into salvaging missions and Frankenstations, let's call it that. Space stations that should have never existed, and cooperation starting as early as the 1960s between the American and Russian programs. Anyway, could be fun. I feel like I've missed the boat when it comes to Kerbal Space Program gameplays by like 15 years, but who knows? Maybe it would be cool. So, yeah. Scrubbed due to Blue Origin Cloud Maker. Oh gosh, we go from a ULA sniper to a Blue Origin Cloud Maker. Oh my, SpaceX just can't catch a break, man. That's funny. That's super funny. Blue Origin Cloud Maker. Oh my goodness. Well, guys, I am going to go back to this shot real quick, because we are having beautiful sundown at Starbase right now. Views brought to you courtesy of NASA Spaceflight. Gaming, you're saying it's never too late. Space Wheel. I'm not sure what you mean by wheel, Space Wheel. I'm not sure what that means, but thank you for the encouragement. Screw it. Let's try it. available on Amazon. Okay, is that an actual? Okay, that's an actual game. Is something called Space Wheel. Oh, a Von Braun wheel. Yeah, doing Von Braun wheels. Yeah. Toroidal space stations. Yeah. Yeah. I've only actually ever done that once. Um, yeah, I haven't done that in a long time, so I should do that again. And actually, I have the last time I did that, the mods that I used weren't as far along, so I should do one of those again, but with Skylab modules. Thing's gonna be huge. I wonder where the Gunter cloud went. This Blue Origin cloud maker is becoming seems more likely, guys. Oh, is that what you're saying? That's what available is on Amazon, the Blue Origin cloud maker. Oh my goodness. Yep, I guess it dissipated just enough to cause SpaceX to have to abandon their launch attempt today. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you guys again for joining me today. Once again, I think I'll go ahead and sign off. We'll try again for tomorrow or whenever they're going to try to do this. And maybe this could be a good thing. I'm really trying to get Jared to be able to join me, but um, all subject to his availability, juggling his two different jobs, one at the Griffith Observatory and the other at the California Science Center, where he is currently setting up one of the prototype shuttles to be put on display for a museum. This is not one of the shuttles that they're arguing about moving um, from DC to Houston, but one of the early wooden prototypes that Rockwell International built to essentially hype the space shuttle and be chosen as America's next vehicle in the 1970s. So it ended up being built so well that they could use it actually as a test bed. Anyway, he's doing some cool work with that, and I can't wait until they're finished and we can see that. But beautiful sunset views at Starbase, and hopefully we see some beautiful views for the actual launch very soon and see all the results that we want to see. Get these objectives out of the way so that we can move on to even bigger, more ambitious goals and seeing our future unfold, the future that we want within our lifetimes. So yeah, thank you again for joining. I look forward to seeing you again whenever their next attempt is, and hopefully Jared will be able to join me. Cross your fingers for that. And until then, I'm also going to have another space pod. And unless I get any other demands from you guys, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap up the one that I've been working on about the boost trunk. Despite that kind of sort of being old news with how quickly things move in the space industry. And then expect another on-demand space pod video on Thursday, most likely about the results of this launch if this ends up going off before Thursday of this week. Hopefully it'll launch tomorrow on Tuesday. So yeah, thank you again for watching. I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you for all of your support. And until the next time I see you guys, keep moving onwards and upwards. And don't forget, Ad Astra, to the stars.